It's time for Grizz Beat, a full-court press of highlights, insights, and debate around the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Tune in each week on the latest conversations with regional and national insiders locked in on the Grizzlies. Running point from Grind City Media Studios, our host, Jason Smith.
Welcome to Grizz Beat. I am your host, Jason Smith of 929 FM ESPN. I'm grateful there is a much improved vibe, if you haven't noticed, around this Memphis Grizzlies team. Now having won 7 of 9, the players are talking about it. KCP mentioned it. We're talking about it. Beating the Los Angeles Clippers and the Portland Trail Blazers since we last spoke. Memphis is now sitting at just 2 games under 500 at 11-13 in the West Standings. You guys remember just 3 weeks ago, this team was 4-11. And so you're feeling a lot better, and hopefully you'll be getting number 12 back here soon, maybe even for 12-12. Get it? We'll get to that soon. We'll get you set for the Grizzlies' return to action against Utah on Friday and the possible return of Ja Morant. So make sure you've got those notifications set like you do for every Wednesday at 3 p.m. for Grizz Beat. We'll be guiding you through it with the latest intel, exclusive interviews, and strong, definitive opinions from an expert panel that I'll introduce now. Let me introduce those folks. To the left is a living legend. His name is Jarvis Greer, Memphis Sports Hall of Famer and former longtime WMC TV Action News 5 sports director. Jarvo, the king. He's got the jersey on, and he's coming off of another correct. You got him all right. Call your shot last week. Congratulations. Oh, yeah. We're going to have to call you Mr. Call Your Shot. You keep hitting it.
Well, you know, when you've been watching this game, the NBA, as long as I have, and when you see the players start coming back in, things start happening, and it's like, hey, I'm all for it. Let's keep going onward and upward, and hey, call 12.
There you go. Call 12. Hopefully he'll be answering here very soon. Next to Jarvis is the man we call the Guru. He's senior editor, contributor, and analyst, the hardest working man here at Grind City Media, Michael Wallace. Michael, I don't want to shortchange you either. Last week, you had a prediction about Jalen Wells' shooting percentage for the past 2 games. Said it would be over 40% from 3. And we like to give credit where credit is due. 2 men, 2-0. Congratulations, Michael.
Hey, that's how we do,
Profit.
Man. Hey, that's why we Grizz Beat, right? We're the Grizz Beat fan. We do it. And, hey, man, I'm just happy to join you in the sweater day today. It wasn't official.
Got my Deacon
we didn't
sweater
talk
on
about
today.
it, but we went on and rocked the sweaters, and we let Jarvo go with the jersey.
There
so
you
we're
go.
all good.
It's all coming together, and it always does when we have our next guest via Zoom. Stephanie, I was born ready, joins us as our national NBA contributor. We're grateful to have her expertise, having covered the NBA for 2 decades plus. Stephanie, you see now these guys love for me to stop when they've been right. Stop the show and say it. I don't guess that surprises you one bit. We rarely stop when they're wrong. We rarely do that.
I love it. Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. I'm so excited to be back with you guys.
Good in the quarter zip there. See the quarter zip she got on?
Oh, yes, thank you.
That's our
every
panel.
day, every show, every time Stephanie's on, the backdrop and the wardrobe just, I mean, she's adding something, right?
It is.
She's accessorizing. She got the ball right there. She got the basketball right there. She got the logo behind her. And the quarter zip
Grizzly
Grizz.
by the week.
Layering. Layering.
Layering? Okay, very
Love
good.
the look.
There we go.
That's our panel for this week's show. We've got the great CJ Hurt behind the glass, keeping us in line and on time, and a great hard-working crew behind the scenes here at Grizz Beat that we're grateful for. And now to our starting 5. It's where we start every Wednesday, the top 5 storylines surrounding the Memphis Grizzlies, who have really turned it on defensively since the return of Zach Edey. We've talked about it. Now the hope is a healthy and engaged Ja Morant can maybe help you, especially offensively, particularly as it relates to closing out games. Remember the 2 San Antonio games. So let's start there, Michael. What should Ja's approach be as he returns to the lineup, having missed the team's last 10 games with a calf strain?
Yeah, when you look at the latest on Ja Morant now, the Grizzlies just got finished wrapping up practice a few minutes ago. And Ja Morant not only was active, he was also in a giving mood this holiday season. He gave out 250 pairs of tickets to the first 250 people that lined up outside of FedEx Forum. It was a great thing to see, courtesy of Ja Morant. So you think about it. 12, giving out tickets for the Grizzlies game that's going to be on 12-12. And hopefully 12 will be in the lineup to help the Grizzlies get their 12th victory of the season, going into that game at 11-13, as you pointed out. So expectations are that Ja will go through a pregame warm-up. You know, the designation, the official injury designation will come out at 5 p.m. Central Time today in terms of what his status will be for tomorrow's game against the Utah Jazz. But the expectation is that Ja is gearing up to go, and we'll see if he's in that lineup because this team wants him back. He wants to get back out there, and hopefully things go well for him when he gets here. The question you asked me for our starting five, what should Ja's approach be when he reacclimates? It's got to be injecting the joy. He's got to inject the joy that this team has been playing with. As you alluded to when we opened the show, the vibes are there.
Right.
This team is playing together. They're talking about sharing the basketball. The stats are going in their favor right now. The results are going in their favor. And it's because they found the joy in this season. Ja Morant can help put that joy over the top if he comes in, buys in, and becomes the leader that he needs to be both on and off the floor.
Right. You do not want to take away from that, from what this team's accomplished by not, I'm with you 100%, by not coming back, playing with joy, and looking to make this better, obviously for Iisalo, for this entire team. I think the team and the players, they deserve that from Ja Morant at this point. I'm expecting to get it. After Ja's had to sort of, you've watched this for the last 10 games. You can't do anything but respect 7-3 for this time that you've been out in the way that Iisalo and this team has navigated. Jarbo, you're up with the next one. What's the biggest thing you're buying about this 7-2 stretch for the Grizzlies?
Well, I have to piggyback on what Michael said. The guru is the guru for a reason, right? And it's the enthusiasm that they are playing with. Not only do they have joy, but they are enthusiastic. They're jumping around. You had Cam Spencer the other night exhorting the crowd after making one of his, plays where he's just a pest out there. He gets in the way of things. He tips balls away. Hubie Brown, when he coached the Grizzlies, said one of the greatest things you can do defensively is get deflections. Well, now this team is not only moving their feet or using their hands, they're moving their feet and they're getting in the way of passes and knocking the ball away. Time ticks off the shot clock. Now the other team has to, what do we do now? There's a low shot clock. And so that enthusiasm, if Ja comes back with that, which we've seen him come off the bench a couple of times and, jump in the ref's face a couple of times to defend his players, his teammates, and the enthusiasm that everybody is playing. I mean, everybody, top to bottom on this roster. And that kind of thing is infectious. And when you see this FedEx Forum crowd get rocking, they respond to that. And that's what I want to see going forward.
No, that's what we're looking forward to. Obviously, Ja cannot be a weak link defensively with how well this team has played defensively.
And we know he's capable of playing some defense.
And you have had guys buy into roles. How about KCP coming off the bench? I don't see how, if you're Ja Morant, you don't want to be a part of it and help it level up. This one's for the group. After a couple of really nice offensive performances, his road wins over the Pelicans and Clippers the last month, Jaren Jackson Jr. has averaged just 9.8 points per game over the Grizzlies' last 4 games. Questions for the entire group. Jarvis, Stephanie, we'll start with you. What's the solution to Jaren's ongoing consistency issues?
They have to help him embrace his role, whatever that role is, right? But be specific about it. At this point, Iisalo should know what he needs from Jaren Jackson for this team to be successful. I think part of the problem with Jaren is that he's gotten really good at a lot of things. His game has evolved as he's been in the league, so he can do more things now. That is tempting during a game to try to do all of those things all of the time. I think with this team, they need to help him narrow down the scope of what they need from him. So if it is more rebounding, if it's more block shots, if it's more points, have a strategy in place. For example, if it's points, then let's talk about where your shots are going to be within our offensive flow. Where are those shots going to get taken from? And make sure you work on those shots so you're ready in the game. I remember when Carmelo Anthony played with the Denver Nuggets, George Karl had a strategy for him that he used to implore him to try and shoot 10, 10, 10, right? He wanted him to shoot 10 layups, 10 jump shots, 10 free throws every single game. That was the goal because he knew that would get out of Melo what the Nuggets needed to be successful. I think they need to do something very specific like that with Jaren Jackson. Whatever it is, whether it's points, whether it's rebounding, whether it's block shots, figure out his role, help him embrace that and establish a strategy to help him achieve it.
That insight there, Stephanie, on what the coaching staff has got to do at this point. They've got to charge in this as well to get Jaren going. It looks like that offense is affecting his defensive effort, at least the struggles offensively. Jarvis, where are you at on these struggles that Jaren's having?
Well, I think it's time. I'll say, well, how much time do you need? He's been here, 8 years now? No, I think if you remember back a couple of years ago when everybody was out, he was the focal point. Get the ball top of the key, work on your man, get to the bucket. That was the highest points I think he averaged, 22 or something or other like that.
A lot of ISO.
A lot of ISO. And now with the new everybody running around movement, and plus he did not get, and why I say time, he was out the whole summer with that toe injury, with turf toe, and had surgery on it. So he didn't have a chance to come in and roam with the guys and get used to where his spots are, how everybody's running around, and all of that. But what you've seen lately, I think, as he's starting to get his feet under him a little bit, his defense has gotten better, especially late in games. He's getting more block shots here lately.
Gotta get
and
it.
also, he's looking for the big guy, the big guy. He's a big guy himself. Zach Edey, you see his assist numbers are going up because he's passing out double teams better. And as he does that, maybe his shot should come back. They say you shoot back. Gene Bartow, legendary former University of Memphis coach, when they went to the national championship against Bill Walton, UCLA, he said, you shoot bad, you look bad. So when the shot comes back, the other problems, I think, will go away.
How about you, Mike? What's
Man,
sharing out
I
there?
mean, we've heard some great insight, both from Stephanie and from Jarvis, right? And it's hard to follow those two up when it comes to that.
But you're the guru, man.
No,
That's what you
But I
do.
mean, I also pay respect where respect is due.
All right.
I love that George Karl reference with the 10, 10, and 10. As you were saying that, I'm trying to think about, okay, but yes, it means aggressiveness to get to the free throw line. It means getting to the rim and into the paint, and then we'll give you the 10 jumpers you want to shoot.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's focused goals to her point.
And then Jarvis, your point was spot on, but I'm gonna go here. Jaren needs to focus on his defense specifically until the offense comes around.
Right, yeah.
This team isn't what last year's team was. They don't need him right now to be the second best scorer. You got shooters who are shooting right now. Cam Spencer is the third best NBA three-point shooter in the league right now. Cedric Coward can get you 20 on a given night. Jalen Rose can get you 20 on a given night.
Jalen Wells.
Jalen Wells.
Yeah.
Jaren
Edey is
doesn't
a scorer.
have to, and Edey. Jaren doesn't have to carry that scoring load.
No.
Be that defensive stopper. Think Ray Lewis. Go out there and shut down everything, right? And plug that, get your defensive stats up. And if you can focus on defense, get the team running, then you trail, you're going to get the spot up threes,
Right.
you're going to get the big man rim run trails, and you're going to get the dunks and the lobs too. The offense is going to come, but you got to focus on defense first.
I'm with you 100%. Can you imagine how good this defense can be? Number 2, since Edey's been back, if you get Jaren high-level defensive player of the year.
Number
type
2 in the
Jaren
whole association?
Number 2 behind only Oklahoma City since
Since
Edey in the
November
11
15th.
games since Edey
Yeah.
has been back. They're number 13 overall, climbing, obviously. Can you imagine if you got a high-level Jaren in that defense and how much trouble you'll be on that end? Stephanie, you've got question number 4 of our starting 5. Grizzlies went 3-1 in the NBA Cup. It was our best they've done here. Wasn't enough to advance. Question for you: have players and fans truly embraced the NBA Cup in a way that you think Adam Silver is now happy with?
Yes, that's the short answer. I absolutely do. And I think it's because we love to compete. Everyone loves it. I think the knock that you get when you talk about the NBA to the common basketball fan is the season is too long. The players don't take the regular season serious. They're doing the load management thing. They're taking nights off. They're exhausted with all the back-to-backs. And so nothing really gets exciting until the playoffs. Well, this was an injection of the playoffs into the regular season. And I've talked to several players and coaches about this over the years. And even from year one, the excitement was there because just think about this. The NBA in particular has a lot of young players who may or may not have had a lot of experience in college, right? A lot of one and doneers. And in that one season they played in college, did they make it to the NCAA tournament? Did they advance? Like, this is their tournament. So they get to sink their teeth into that. But then when you look at it, like from now, right? Because we've had 2 of these already. The very first year, the Indiana Pacers were a young, up-and-coming team with a rising superstar in Halliburton, right? We didn't know exactly what was going to happen. Well, in the NBA Cup, the in-season tournament, they made it all the way to the finals. They were the runner-up. Well, what happened? Next year, they go to the Eastern Conference Finals in 24. The next year, in 25, last season, they made it to the NBA Finals. They learned how to win in that tournament. That helped them evolve so much quicker. And then you look at last season. OKC Thunder. They made it to the finals as well. And then, 2 seasons ago. And then they win the NBA championship that next year in 25. So I think it is very valuable for teams that have a lot of young players or players with not a lot of playoff experience. This is how you can expedite that process. You always hear coaches say we have to learn how to win. the in-season tournament allows them to learn how to win.
I found myself watching last night. Of course, it was the East quarterfinals last night, and looking forward to a Knicks-Orlando matchup up next. And obviously with the West, you've got the Thunder, you've got the Lakers, you've got the Spurs. Obviously some teams that could be playing, as Stephanie said, in a finals. And so NBA Cup fully underway. Those West quarterfinals are tonight. And obviously looking forward to see how they conclude. And hopefully, on down the line, the Grizzlies advancing one of these years in the NBA Cup.
I'll say one thing about the Cup, that the games that the Grizzlies got added because they didn't make it into the finals because of the point differential between
Utah
them
and the Clippers.
Yeah, they got Utah, and they got the Clippers, too. They hadn't played Utah yet, but Utah's in the bottom, and the Clippers they've already beaten. Now, it's hard to beat anybody 3 times in a row.
Yeah,
but
Clippers got to be
take
getting
that
tired
chance
of
to try to stack W's.
Yeah, I figure those vets with the Clippers getting pretty tired of losing to the Grizzlies. That road game coming up might be a little different than you expect. Our final question of the starting 5 is for the group, and we've got some audio to accompany it. Question is this: what letter grade would you give Tuomas Iisalo on a first quarter report card? Before we get to that grade, like I said, let's hear from Iisalo on the state of the team right now with the Grizzlies having won 7 of 9.
I still consider this very much short term. So I think it's natural, like for human nature, is to very much overestimate what can be done in the short term and very much underestimate what can be done in the long term. Like it's compounding interest. Like it's if you're a stockbroker or an investor, you understand what compounding does, and that's what we try to do. There's no like miracles. Like you guys ask me after every game, okay, have we now improved? And have we now improved? And it's completely different. Like we have completely different perspectives on that timeline. Like in a way that as long as you're making progress, good things will happen. Then it's just about the time scale when those happen. But you need to keep making progress. And I personally, and we as a group, we're paranoid about this. But you also can't force or speed up that process. I've tried it. It leads to a ton of frustration. It leads to a ton of disappointment in the short term and loss of confidence from the whole group. You just got to keep working. And the difficulty in this whole thing is like, you can't also say like, trust the process. That's also dangerous because that just means you think that showing up every day just in body and not in mind and going through the same motions is going to get you there. But you need to show up every day, spend time in the deep end, think like this is going to be the hardest thing I'm going to do today. And then, okay, understand that in the big picture, it's just one practice. But when you're in that practice, when you're in a situation, in a possession, you should be thinking this is the only thing, not the most important thing. This is the only thing right now in my life. That's a very hard balance to strike, especially with the schedule, with there being so many games that it's not only physically and mentally, but also emotionally very taxing. Changing time zones, traveling, you don't, like I wake up not knowing which city we're in, and then I check out the schedule. Okay, we're here, so I can only imagine what it is for the players. So you got to find a really good balance between the work and the rest.
See, I find a guy that has at a time where he could have been overwhelmed. You know, star players not on the same page. You got injuries up and down the roster. That he has managed to navigate his way through this, get guys to buy into role, and the Grizzlies have refound certainly their defensive identity. And so you have to give Iisalo a lot of credit. That was a fabulous look into the mind of Soriati. Measures short-term, long-term success. Very pragmatic, obviously. Jarvis, we're going to get back to the grades.
Wow.
In terms of a first quarter grade for Tuomas Iisalo, what would you give him?
I would say a B. I was going to say an I for incomplete because he doesn't have all of his bullets in the chamber yet. But if I can say that, but I think he's navigated it pretty well. There's been so much that's gone on with the team. Like we're all out here thinking when they're going into training camp, hey, we're going to be great. We're going to the playoffs. And then next thing we know, boom. Oh, so-and-so's had surgery. Oh, this one's had, oh, this one's got, and this one over here, he's, and so, oh, wow. So you're like behind the 8 ball before you even start out. Now you got to refigure what you're going to do, and you're trying to do stuff on the fly. 4-10, I think, was the start. Now they're what?
11 and 13.
11
and 13.
Yeah.
2 games under. And you got plenty of December left. So I'm going to give him a B because they've worked themselves out of a hole, and he's been a chief architect of that. Getting an A grade would be difficult, because, some of those games, some of those things that happened maybe shouldn't have happened. Maybe they could have solved a couple of things behind the scenes, but, they are where they are right now. I'll give them a B.
Jarvis is going with a B. Stephanie, what say you on grade for Tuomas Iisalo through the first quarter?
I also gave him a B. I looked at it this way. He was already starting off in a situation where this was going to be his first year having the team for the entire season, including training camp. So when you're a new coach, you already have to set the culture, set the identity. Do you want to hang your hat on defense? Do you want to hang your hat on offense? You got to set all those terms and make sure everyone's on the same page and speaking the same language. So it's already a very difficult task. So I felt like an A would have been impossible anyway if everything went perfectly for him. But because he did have contracts, injuries, you talk about Ja and Zach Edey only played in about half the games so far. I think he's done an exceptional job with what he has on his plate, but I cannot give him an exceptional grade. So that's why I gave him a B.
So Professors Greer and Professor Reddy have given Iisalo a B. What say you, Professor Wallace?
Well, listen, man, I hate to be the Scrooge of the group.
He's
here.
the Grinch.
All right, I hate to be the Grinch of the group here, but last time I checked, I looked at the standings. The Grizzlies are 2 games under 500.
Sure.
Last time I checked, the Grizzlies are in a play-in position, a little bit lower than what you would think they would be with Ja and Jaren entering the season. The last time I checked, Iisalo had some level of a runway to get prepared for this season because he coached last year, the last month and a half, and went into the playoffs. Last time I checked, 2 games under 500 just isn't good enough, right? And then when I compare that to what some of the other first-year or similar coaches have inherited, you look at Jordan Ott over in Phoenix. They don't have Jalen Green, the guy that they made the trade to get from Kevin Durant. They have a roster that no one would pick anyone else off their roster to start on your roster at this point. And Phoenix is probably one of the surprise teams in the league, doing it in the first year, right? Without his main guys available from that situation. Then I look over at Mike Brown with the Knicks. The Knicks they're not great, but they haven't taken a step back. He's implemented his system. He's found a way to get the guys to buy in because of his communication style. And those are things that you're seeing. The Knicks are in the NBA Cup tournament, right? Yep. From that standpoint. One last one, Mitch Johnson. That's the one that's the almost, you're comparing apples to apples. Mitch Johnson took over a very difficult situation in San Antonio last year as an interim. He had a lot more runway than Iisalo has had because he was there longer. But guess what? He's been without Victor Wembanyama for 3 weeks now. San Antonio continues to find ways to win. They find ways to get to their identity. This has been a little bit more of a struggle. So I give Iisalo a C+. I don't even know if I mentioned the grade off the top, but I give him a C+. And it's slightly less than what you guys gave him, but I'm holding it to a little bit of a higher standard because, number one, like I said, if you have Ja and Jaren, you got to figure out a way to break through to those guys, if nothing else. You got the foundation below you now. Now you got to figure out how to take the next step. And I wouldn't be comfortable giving them a grade with flying colors if that is still a major challenge that he has to solve.
I completely understand your point.
And it's just the first quarter. It's just the first quarter. That doesn't mean he can't get there.
In those Phoenix and San Antonio situations, I would just throw back at you, there is not a star player in a way, 3-2, and at halftime, all of a sudden, he's not involved. There's not a star player where they're challenging you, not on the same page where that's happening. And you certainly, I think you
Which
agree,
is why they would get better grades.
You can't blame Iisalo for Ja Morant at halftime of a Lakers game, saying, all of a sudden, I'm just going to sort of mail it in.
But it takes 2.
You have to navigate through that.
It takes 2, though, right? Right, so it takes 2. So we weren't in the locker room, but Ja didn't get mad at himself. He didn't just get mad at nothing, right? So as you have to know how to reach someone if you're in the position of coach. Not everybody has to be told the same thing the same way.
Right.
And I'm not blaming Iisalo. A C+ is a damn good grade for a team that has dealt with the non-point guards and all the injuries. So what I'm saying is that there's room to grow. Absolutely. I'm just giving them a little bit more of a curve based on what other teams are dealing with. And it's not, the Grizzlies aren't, unique in not having their best players available, right? So, like I said, all three of them are first-year coaches. And in Mitch Johnson's case, he hasn't had Wembanyama. He hasn't had Wembanyama.
I'll just say that my grade came because the Grizzlies had more players out than any of these other teams did. Yeah, Wembanyama
Not necessarily.
I
just said Jalen Green in Phoenix has been injured all year.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's true. But like
Wembanyama has been out the last 3 weeks, and the point guard. Their point guard from Sacramento, who just got there. De'Aaron Fox wasn't there at the beginning of the year. And then Dylan Harper's been out. So they've had injuries too. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's 3. The Grizzlies have had 5 guys out. They're on their 5th point guard. So it's like, count them. Josh started the year great, but you didn't have Ty Jerome. You didn't have Brandon Clark. Who else didn't you have? There was somebody else in there. There was Jaren
Scottie
was
Pippen.
out.
No,
Jaren was out.
Jaren was there.
Oh,
Scottie
he
Pippen.
did start the year.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And then Scottie Pippen.
But we're going way into the weed. We're going way into the depth at that point. Like,
and only the difference between a B and a C plus. It's not a huge difference.
That's where the 4 and 10
there.
came from because your depth wasn't playing and you weren't shooting well. Jalen Wells and KCP weren't shooting like they are now. So, that's where that 4 and 10. Now Jalen Wells and KCP are shooting. Edey, oh, yeah, I forgot. Zach Edey was out. Zach Edey was a big part of your pizza pie there.
Absolutely.
So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it doesn't sound
you're
like...
right. No, your grades, I think all of our grades are fair. And I'm not saying,
last time I checked, Professor Guru, sir, you're looking at the record of the teams. And there are teams that are above the Grizzlies. And the Grizzlies are sitting at 11 and 13. So
yeah,
I get it.
But Jarvis, everybody can say that, man. Yeah. Like everybody's, you're judged by your record.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
Ultimately, that's what you're,
you're
judged by your record and you're judged by how you got to your record. So what I'm saying is that he is not facing any situation that any other coach that I've pointed out isn't facing.
Right.
Right. So
7-2 in the last 9. I'm done.
So that's good. That's good. But that still means that, again, we're talking about the totality of the first quarter of the season.
Right. Gotcha.
At that point. So C+ is a positive grade. B is a positive grade.
I didn't want to be in your class because my mom would spank me if I bring in a C.
And the appeal for a higher grade ain't gonna work with Michael Wallace. So you better you better come correct if you're gonna get
grades are fair.
I think they're fair, and I understand not wanting to give a B to a team that's sub 500. I would just say with everything that's been thrown at them, I was fine with a B- was my grade. I know y'all didn't ask me, but I'm giving Iisalo a B-. Now to the highlights, our best dunk, dime, and defensive play, where each week our panel is going to vote on the best assembled highlights. The great thing is it's all Grizz this week. Let's start with best dunk.
Ahead, Cam thought about it. KCP for 3, rimming no. Aldama with the follow dunk. And Jaren, good defense. Avdia wanted a foul. Gets no satisfaction. Jaren to the rim with 2 hands.
Okay, Jaren. Okay. So you got Santi, you got Jaren there, a couple of nice ones. Jarvis, you start us off. Which one's better?
Well, I'm glad to see Jaren go to the hole with authority, but there was really no one in his path. Santi, I got to go with Santi Aldama, Santi Claus here as Christmas coming up because he got in front of his man and he dunked it with one hand. I like that aggression from Santi
That's
Aldama.
right, Santi on that offensive glass. Is he right, Stephanie?
Yes, he's right. I'm going with Santi also. The offensive rebound for the putback is one of my favorite dunks in the game, and he did it with one hand. He did it with authority, so that gets my vote.
I like it too. Professor Wallace.
Oh, yeah, we're going to go with the sweep. I'm going to go with Santi. But that's not even Santi's best dunk from that game. Remember the reverse dunk. Right, so I'm going to challenge Darnell Brady right now, man. You got to do better. Get us the better dunk in that game from that standpoint.
There's a better Santi dunk, the reverse.
The reverse was cool.
Santi will take the win here over Jaren Jackson Jr. Now on to best dime from a Grizzly this past week.
He's plus 17 off the bench tonight. Spencer to steal. Pass intended for Reaves.
Oh, look away.
Oh, nice wow, threading the needle.
There's the dog. Darnell said,
there it is.
It's in my dime.
Drop off. Coward for 2. Great.
Okay, so Cam Spencer there with a steal leading to a nice assist. Which one's better here? We'll start with you, Jarbo.
Oh, I got to put the joggles on. Cam Spencer. Cam with the look away on the dunk to Santi
on the reverse dunk.
How about that?
Yeah.
But that's a nice pass from Santi. The nice drop to the young man there, Cedric Howard going in. But no, that look away in the reverse. Oh, that's sweet.
How about it, Stephanie?
I'm going to agree this time. And I think you guys are getting to know my philosophy and the things that I like and look for. And it's defense. Anytime a defensive play leads to an easy offensive bucket, it's going to get my vote every day of the week. So the steal to the assist, that gets my vote.
efforts there on that by Cam Spencer. I'm with you. What about it, Mike Wallace?
I stand corrected. Darnell said, hold my beer. Give me
that's
one
what he
more
did.
clip.
Yeah.
I got your
Don't call
Santi
out
reverse dunk coming
You
up.
got it in there.
And there it is right there. So since I called for it, I got to go with that one right there. And it was a fresh pass from Cam Spencer, the no look. And shout out to Cam Spencer, too. Like I said, he's third in the NBA in three-point shooting right now among players who have attempted at least 100, but he's also averaging 5+ assists in this last stretch of games, too. That was one of the best dimes he's delivered all season.
He has been absolutely fantastic at a time that they really needed it as they were trying to navigate through what was a rough patch. We'll move on now to best defensive play by a Grizzly.
Avdia on the pickup, straight line drive. Oh, and Jared rejected it.
Oh, yes.
8 of 11 inside the arc tonight. Leonard drives. Oh, denied.
See,
Wow. Now that's looking like defensive player of the year, Jaren Jackson, on that block. Is that Sid getting that block?
No, that was Zach.
That was
Zach.
Big Z.
It was Zach.
Sid was there, though, but that was Zach.
I couldn't tell who got the hand on it. It was Zach that got the block. Okay. A couple of good ones here. Jarvis, which one you going with?
I'll have to go with Tripp, number 8, coming up there with that huge block there, because that was near the end of the game, and that was a big defensive play. They did it with the left hand and did not foul. Great play. The ball stayed in bounds. Did it stay in bounds? I believe they went the other way with it and scored. That was a play that you needed to have at that time. Tripp was there looking like the defensive player of the year that he was a couple seasons.
No doubt. Time and score matter here. Stephanie, where are you at?
This is a tough one. I like both of them, and I'm watching these replays as you were talking, Jarvis, because I'm trying to make my mind up still. I really liked the Jaren block from behind, but I'm going to go with Edey because he was on the move. He had to move his feet, and it was a dunk attempt that he blocked. So I'm going to go with the second play.
Yeah, she's right. I mean, that is a nice recovery by Zach Edey getting back there and getting that hand in there. Michael, is she right?
She is right. She is right. And it is really, really tough. You're splitting hairs right here, right? But I got to go and give Edey the edge because Edey got double credit for the block. Not only did he block Kawhi Leonard, he also blocked Cedric Coward from getting the block.
Getting the block.
Because Cedric would have gotten the block if Zach
Edey
wasn't there. Like, if Zach Edey wasn't there, Cedric would have gotten the block. He was right there as well, too. So that's a double block. I give him double points and extra credit since you say I'm a tough grader.
There you go. I don't think it's said. It's fact now, brother. It's always good. You get the 2-0 weeks. You get the all Grizz highlights. It's fun to see. Love when we can do it. Best dime dunk and defensive play, all Grizzlies. When we come back, we'll put the confidence meter on our panelists. Are the Grizzlies the best sub-500 team in the NBA right now? They've played a lot of them. And who's had the better breakout season? Austin Reaves of the Lakers, or former Memphis Tiger Jalen Duren. Keep it locked. This is Grizz Beat on Grind City Media.
The world needs B2K.
B2K's breakup was a huge shock to their fans.
Boys for Life Tour.
Watching the Grizzlies is easy with FanDuel Sports Network. If you have cable or satellite, you're all set. Find us on your channel lineup. You can also use your TV provider login to watch games on the FanDuel Sports Network app. No cable or satellite? Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network online. You can also watch on Prime Video by adding a FanDuel Sports Network subscription. Not sure where to start? Visit FanDuelSportsNetwork.com to learn more.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans. Want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
In the 7 games that he has played, they have been the best rebounding team and the best assist team in the NBA. And a lot of that goes to Vince Williams, who has been Rondo.
Vince Rondo, man.
But this is 100% attributable to Zach Edey.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Grizz Nation, celebrate 12-12 Day with special ticket savings. See your squad take on the Utah Jazz on Friday, December 12th for as low as $12. Don't miss your chance to experience all the action live for less. Get this deal today at grizzlies.com/12. The word 12. Again, that's grizzlies.com/12. Welcome back to Grizz Beat. Now it's confidence meter time. Time to measure our panel's confidence level in 3 key topics. We'll start here. At 11-13, the Grizz are the best sub-500 team in the NBA right now. Jarvis, what's your confidence level in that?
I'm going to say very confident. They're 11-12. They're the best of the rest. I think everybody pretty much has known that because they've beaten up on everybody that's below them. They've had their problems with the teams that are above them, but, I think when you get the band back together,
right,
I think that'll even out a little bit. Not to say that some of these teams that the Grizzlies have beaten or below them won't come up and, catch them every now and then. That's going to happen. It's the NBA. Everybody's got professional players. But I'm going to say very confident the Grizz will be above 500 at the end of the year.
Michael, how about you?
Hey, I feel like I'm very confident in that. When you look at the standings and you see it right there where the Grizzlies are, this is a team that was, I think, 8 or 9-3 against teams that are sub 500.
Yep.
They're 1-10 against teams above 500. So they're taking care. This is how you start this season when you're dealing with what you're dealing with. You take care of everyone behind you. 43% of the league is below 500. So there's a lot of teams to beat up on to stay in that playoff play-in mix. The Grizzlies keep taking care of business. They'll be able to turn that corner eventually and try to steal some against some of these winning teams.
Stephanie, how confident are you that the Grizz are the best sub-500 team in the league?
I said I was confident. I do think when you just look at records, then obviously, yes, the answer is yes. They are the best of the teams that are sub 500. But I think you got to be careful when you look at who's right around them, right? Portland is in a situation where they could run off a string of wins when you look at their schedule. They've got the Pels, the Warriors, and then Sacramento twice. So there's an opportunity for them to gain some momentum and to also gain some wins. But yes, I do think that Memphis is looking good to be sub 500 for sure.
Opportunity here with the next 2, especially with teams beneath you, to get to 500 with Utah, obviously, and the Clippers coming up next. Michael, this next one's for you. We'll start with you. Zach Edey's averaging 13.6 points, 11 rebounds, and 1.9 blocks in 11 games since returning to the lineup. We mentioned how key he's been defensively for the Grizzlies. How confident are you that Edey will be a top 5 center in the NBA by the end of the season? That too lofty?
I'm confident. And the reason why I'm confident is because right now I can only certainly think of 4 that are definitely no debate better than him right now, right? You got to start with Wemby. You go to Jokic, Wemby, Karl Anthony Towns, and Jalen Duren is outperforming them right now. But beyond that, there's some all-stars who have played the position, but Rudy Gobert is not better than Zach Edey right now. You know what I'm saying? I don't see him jumping off the page. Bam Adebayo, you could take it or leave it. There are a couple other guys in there you could throw in there as well too. But unless I'm missing somebody, I'm confident that Edey at this pace can be a top 5 center by the end of the year.
Would you include Şengün?
Şengün is the other one. Şengün is 4.
He'd be a guy that's in that top 5 that Edey be looking to join.
Şengün is 4. Yep.
Stephanie, how about you? How confident are you that Edey's center by the time this season's over?
Not confident at all. I don't even think it's going to be close. I think top 5 is very lofty. I know that the way the NBA is going now, that we don't look at true centers in terms of being like the marquee players, right? But you just named, Michael, 4 or 5 that are likely going to end up being better than him. And also better is subjective, right? How do you measure that? What stats will you look at? Will you look at wins and losses and factor that into the equation? But when you take a deep dive, even just right now, looking at him and where he ranks in the NBA among only centers, there's only one category statistically that he's in top 5. So I don't see how he could get to be top 5 overall this season. I think he's a very good player, and I think he will continue to evolve, but he's not making top 5 this year.
It is. It's a lofty goal to get into the top 5 as good as he's been. And here's the other thing. It's been for 11 games. You have to do it for a full season. Jarvis, where's your confidence level on Edey making a top 5 by the end of the year?
I'm going to say very confident. In a league that used to be dominated by centers, the big man in the middle, it's not now. And, Michael did a great job of naming off a lot of guys, but that's basically it. And Edey is the big Zamboni's a hard worker. And as long as he stays healthy, he'll get better and better. Even his bad game has been a good game in terms of, what he's been able to do. And, he missed a couple of shots the last game, but he still rebounded. He still blocked shots. He was still a terror defensively in the lane. So I'm very confident by the end of the year he'll be among the top 5.
Hey, certainly. He's a walking double-double. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Uh-oh.
Michael, you named 5. so it would be impossible for him to end up top 5 because you said Jokic, Wemby, Cat, Jalen Duren, and Bam. That's 5.
See, this is what I'm saying. Like, so I'm down to almost like 8 now, right? So I got Jokic. Well, I'm saying that are in the conversation before we move on.
Okay.
Jokic, Cat, Wemby, Şengün. All right, those are the definites. That's the 4. Now here you go. Duren, he has to keep this up.
And that's a former Memphis Tiger.
Duren has to keep it up, right? Bam Adebayo, here or there. I mean, you could take him or leave it, right? He's not just. And then Sabonis is a guy that it should be in that discussion as well. Mm-hmm. Jared Allen, depending on what he does from that standpoint in terms of Cleveland. But that list, like I would put Zach Edey in terms, like you said, you made a great point, Steph. He's not leading in any particular category, but his defensive impact and what his plus minus has been. Let's see where that goes as they play harder competition. But Zach Edey, he certainly can jump into the discussion of the next 5 after that top 5.
And I think Bam is more of a
I would agree.
Jared.
But you're fair. You're right, though.
Yeah.
The top 5 is hard.
Right.
That's why that hard line is right there. So
I think Bam is more of a trip guard than a Zach Edey guard because Zach Edey should not be guarding or playing that one-on-one defensive spot against Bam Adebayo.
But he's their 5, though.
Yeah,
right?
he is
Some
their
people
5.
like Sabonis is a 4, but he plays 5 for them when he's healthy. So yeah, I mean it's the fact that he's in there.
It's a wavy line. It's not a hard line. It's kind of a wavy line.
But he's got to sustain this, though. To your point, he's only played a limited amount of games.
Agreed.
Yep.
Our final confidence meter item now. Both NBA Finals teams will come from the 8-team NBA Cup field. We've got the West quarterfinals tonight. Suns, Thunder, Spurs, Lakers, Magic, and Knicks. We mentioned it were the quarterfinal winners in the East last night. Stephanie will come to you. We talked about the Cup with you earlier. You think the finals teams come out of this group?
I am confident. I am very confident, in fact. I think, and I don't want to misquote myself, but I think in one of our earlier shows here on Grizz Beat, I predicted that it would be a Thunder and Knicks final for the NBA championship, and both of those teams are in the Cup field. So very confident.
She predict that. I know it for sure because I agree with you completely. That is my finals matchup. So 100%, I'm with you, Steph. Both of those could be the teams in this Cup final. Jarvis, we'll go with you.
Well, I'm going to say not confident. Which one are we on this? I think not confident in NBA Cup because I think there may be some team out there in the weeds that hadn't gotten all their players back, or they're trying to figure it out, that's going to come up and and catch fire in the playoffs and maybe knock the Knicks out. Oklahoma City, I think, is basically as much of a lock as you can be, but I think there might be somebody out of a Cleveland or someone that could come out of the East and get there.
Well, in this case, it'd be the Magic, right? If you don't have them going to the finals, it's Magic and Knicks at this point. In terms of making it, those are who advance. Right. Michael, how confident are you that the finals participants will come out of this group?
To Jarvis's point, I'm confident, and I know he said not confident, but I'm confident because I feel like I would be very confident. I'm very confident in the West. Yeah. Like I think Oklahoma City is going to get there, but I also think Denver can still get there too.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
but in the East, man, it's
You're
such a
not a Knicks guy. I've figured that out about you so far.
I'm not a Knicks guy. But man, the way that Orlando is getting better, they can certainly continue to keep playing the way that they're playing, and we'll see. But I'm confident in it, but I'm not ready to go, very confident on it.
Our old friend Desmond Bain was going off last night for a season high for him. But you said it. They've found their way now, this Orlando team that's all in. Now let's run some pick and roll where our panelists will pick from one of two options, explain why they're going to roll with it. Nice and simple. Which player is delivering a better breakout season as we take a look around the league? Lakers guard Austin Reaves or the guy we mentioned, Detroit Pistons forward and former Memphis Tiger Jalen Duren. Jarvis, we'll start with you.
As much as I love Jalen Duren, because my alma mater, I bleed blue and gray, I got to go with Austin Reaves. Look what he's done. I mean, he's just, 28 points a game or something other like that he's averaging, and just totally terrorizing the league. And he's just up the road here in Arkansas. wasn't recruited by the big guys, and he's come in and just really done just tremendous things with the Lakers. He's out there in La La Land, you know, a guy coming here from, you know, the Mid-South region, going out there, lightly recruited. So I'm going to have to go with Austin Reaves.
Michael, where are you at on this one?
I love the fact that there's a local tie to this, right? Austin Reaves is just across the river there.
Yeah.
Jalen Duren played at the University of Memphis. So to see two guys in this region do big things this year, I'm going to go with Jalen Duren, though.
Okay.
And Austin Reaves is doing a phenomenal job. And, you know, he had sort of a breakout last year. To go from star to almost superstar numbers is a very, very good jump. But Jalen Duren was basically injury prone, and you weren't sure what kind of NBA career he's going to have.
Okay.
Now he's in the discussion, as I said before, as a top 5 center in the league. And guess what? Detroit is still number 1 in the East because Cade Cunningham is an MVP candidate, but Jalen Duren kept them number 1 when Cade Cunningham was out because of his production on both ends of the floor.
Stephanie, you break the tie for us here. Is it Reaves or Duren?
This was a tough one. Both of them have had really great seasons, especially when you compare to what they've done. They both really are having a breakout year, but I'm going to go with Austin Reaves for a couple reasons. One, he's having career highs in every statistical category.
Yep.
Yes.
Points, rebounds, assists, steals, FTAs, FGAs. Like, you just keep going across the columns. Check, check, check. Career high for him. Also because he's required to do more. I mean, you mentioned that Jalen Duren has Cade Cunningham. Austin Reaves is turning into the go-to guy. Like, he's playing the most minutes. You know, a lot is required of him, and he is still producing. So that's why I'm giving it to Austin Reaves.
All right, I like it. When we come back, we'll take a further dive into the rest of the league. If Milwaukee and Giannis, it's been talked about a lot, eventually decide to part ways, which team might be the best fit for Giannis? We'll talk about that. And is it too premature to start comparing this OKC team to the 2015-16 Warriors and those 95-96 Bulls that won 73 and 72 games respectively? We're going to see if it's too early to do that. This is Grizz Beat. Keep it locked.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball. But the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board. A class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GBWR.
Jeff Dunham, Artificial Intelligence, his all-new tour.
You're the other white meat. How can you be so smart on one hand and so stupid on the other? Well, you're half of it. I realize I could have avoided all this years ago with one simple word. I do not. Silence!
Don't miss a Memphis. Friday, April 10th, FedEx Forum. Tickets on sale Monday, September 29th at jeffdunham.com.
Nate Bargatze.
Look, I say a lot of dumb stuff. I try to keep it in front of large groups. Seems to go better that way.
Big Dumb Eyes World Tour.
When you say something dumb one-on-one, it's a lot for that person. I'll say it, then I can just feel that they feel the weight of my life on their shoulders.
Tickets and info at NateBargatze.com. Don't miss the Big Dumb Eyes World Tour. Nate Bargatze.
Nikola Jokic is getting his 12.8 boards per game in 34.9 minutes, while Edey, outside of the Denver game, in which he only played 6 minutes, he's getting 12.6 boards per game in only 28.1 minutes per game. So you can reasonably suggest, are you ready for this? Zach Edey is the best rebounder in the world right now. Say it with me.
Zach Edey is the best rebounder in the world right now.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
This holiday season, forget the ordinary and give the extraordinary. Holiday ticket packs are more than tickets. They're a pass to slam dunks, buzzer beaters, and unforgettable memories. Imagine the roar of the crowd, the thrill of the game, and the joy of sharing it all with family and friends. Holiday packs are the ultimate way to spread cheer. Don't settle for socks or sweaters. Nobody wants that. Give the gift of Grizzlies game day and visit grizzlies.com/packs. Again, that's grizzlies.com/packs /packs. Welcome back to Grizz Beat. I am very curious to see this next list. What our man Michael Wallace has done is compiled a top 10 list of the most reported or rumored trade candidates, the guys that are being talked about all over in the headlines and everything else. I'm eager to see how you put this list together, and of course, who is number one. Michael, I hand it to you.
Yes, absolutely, man. There's scuttlebutt all across the league right now, and that's only going to intensify as we get to December 15th, Monday, which is when players that were acquired in free agency in July become eligible to be traded. So that opens up 90% of the NBA is eligible to be traded come Monday. So what happens when you look at that? A lot of scuttlebutt out there, a lot of rumors, a lot of things. And here are some names that have been thrown out there. The validity of these names, you can believe in them or not believe in them. But the truth of the matter is all these guys have been thrown into the discussion point. Giannis Antetokounmpo, number one. He's already said, look, I'm having discussions with the Bucks to see what the next steps will be. 2, Zion Williamson. We'll see what Joe Dumars and Zion have. Right now, Zion has missed the last week and a half with that abductor strain. Yep. We'll see when he comes back. Trae Young has been out for the last month and a half or whatever. He's been rumored in Atlanta.
Didn't give him an extension, to your point.
As an extension-eligible guy. Yep. Lauri Markkanen, it seems like he's been on the trade block for the last 6 trade cycles, right? Danny Ainge and the Angels don't want to let him go for whatever reason. Zach LaVine is a guy that, in Sacramento is not working there. It wasn't working in Chicago. Could he be moved again? Trey Murphy, New Orleans, great piece, great role player. What is New Orleans going to do? Zion is also on that list there. Ja Morant, now listen, I have no indication that the Grizzlies are interested in trading Ja Morant whatsoever, right? I'm not reporting anything with this, but what I'm saying is that it's an acknowledgement that Ja Morant's name continues to surface in these published reports. So that's out there. Yep. Nikola Vucevic, what is Chicago going to do? Started great, cratered since then, right? The big man, the veteran, he can go help another contending team. LaMelo Ball, we all saw the ESPN story from a couple of weeks ago. And then at the bottom, number 10, I have C.J. McCollum here, but I've updated that, and I wanted to put Anthony Davis in there. Okay. But C.J. McCollum and Anthony Davis are 2 guys that, again, Dallas may feel like they need to punt on where they're going right now and rebuild. Anthony Davis may want to go to a contender. C.J. McCollum is doing great. He's having a bounce-back season, almost averaging 20 a game with the Wizards, but they're going nowhere. So how much longer are the Wizards going to hold on to them instead of flipping him for an asset? So that's where we go. And listen, I'll open the floor up.
I just wonder, if I'm starting here, I'd wonder if Josh should be higher. You mentioned that ESPN story last week that mentioned Trae Young, Ja, LaMelo was in it too, and the story was about whether or not these guys have negative trade value, but they talked, gave anonymity to league execs, and one even said that I think they'll have to trade Ja and that he'll get better after the trade. But my point is, he seems like he's in the mouths of whether it's executives or the entire NBA, whether it's just folks that want to see him out of a small market or just folks that think it's time for the Grizzlies to move on. But back to your point, Ja Morant doesn't feel like 7 to me. He feels like he's up there with Trae Young. So I'd move Ja up. I don't want Ja traded. I want best version of Ja because I feel like that's the best thing for the franchise. You've always got to keep your options open. But I would just say the way Ja's talked about, and yet ESPN last week, you mentioned it, I'd have him higher on the list. Feels like half the league wants him traded.
It seems like that, right? And it's because of the antics and the actions and things of that nature. But what also I can say to the other side of that is that the Grizzlies have never said, hey, this guy's out here on the block. They've never indicated that he's out here on the block from that standpoint. Ja has never said, get me out of Memphis. As a matter of fact, he's tattooing himself with Memphis, right? So he seems to be locked into this. So it just seems to be a situation where let him get healthy, let this team find its way through, and we'll see. But we cannot ignore that his name continues to resurface in these national and these publications when it comes to him being on the trade block.
Jarvo, where would you go? Any problems with Michael's list here?
I have absolutely no problems with Michael's list. I mean, I looked at it and I looked at it and I looked at it. And one thing I would say, like the Grammy-nominated rapper from Memphis and Melrose, Glorilla, let him cook. Let him cook out there with all these Ja rumors and all this stuff. He ain't going, bro ain't going nowhere because I'm wearing his number, man. He going to be right here. But I think that, to just break it down, I think Nikola Vucevic from Chicago, he started out hot. He's tapered off a little bit, but he still has it in him to do what they need him to do. He's still the guy that was there at the beginning of the season when they, where did this come from? You know, he was always good. He hasn't been bad since he's been in the league, and they need a big guy that does the things that he does. So I would just say Nikola Vucevic would be my guy.
How about you, Stephanie? Any issues with Michael's list? Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't have any.
I apologize.
Oh,
Michael's got
Yeah. No, I was just going to respond
rebuttal.
to Jarvis's on Vucevic. You know,
Rebuttal.
he's been you're right though. Vucevic is there. Chicago, we've seen this. We've seen that. Okay, he's been there at a certain point. They're going to have to figure out. All right, he's a veteran.
Yeah.
We need to go younger.
Right.
And it's
Push
just
the
not
button.
work. It's just not a fit anymore. And when you look around and you look at a team like Toronto, for instance, that has a chance to do something special this year that no one expected, they're a center away from legitimizing what they have up there, right?
Well, I can yield to that.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that like him being in the trade blocks makes sense because there are going to be some teams on both sides that can look at him and say, all right, we might be a Vucevic away as a big who can rebound double and be a system guy to help us get
because
across.
because he is good. He is Nikola
Because he's
Vucevic.
valuable.
That's why I
yeah.
think that Chicago might want to see if the young guys will come up to his level as the season goes along. You know, it's a long season.
Unfortunately, Smooth been watching these Bulls for a long time
Blow
with
it up.
Vucevic.
Trade
And
everything.
they've already been watching them for 4 years try to do it, and it hasn't worked.
No question about it. Stephanie, where you? And I apologize, had to get Michael's rebuttal in. Where are you at on his list?
No worries. I didn't have a problem with Michael's list. The way that I looked at the list, because I understand what you're saying, right? These are names that people are talking about throughout the league for potential trades. Okay, I get that. The way I looked at it was from a buyer's perspective. If I am someone who is looking to attain one of these assets, who's the one that I have the problem with? And it's Zion Williamson. He is consistently hurt. He cannot be available. And if I am trying to bring in an asset to my franchise, I want one that is going to be reliable. If you look at last year, he played 30 games. In the 22-23 season, 29 games, 21-22 did not play. So you look at the 6 years prior to this season, he only played more than 30 games twice. Only twice in the last 6 years. And already this season, he's only played 10 of 25 games. So if I'm looking for an asset, I am staying away from that one. So that was the only thing that I said, okay, I have an issue with this if I'm the buyer. But I think your list is spot on in terms of, the chatter and who's talking about who.
Great
Well
point,
done.
Stephanie. Great point. And that's where, the sort of the gray lines with doing this, you got to navigate it, kind of carefully. But as a buyer, you're absolutely right. If you're a buyer, you're like, man, what am I getting?
Right.
If I'm getting, Zion Williamson, right, from that standpoint.
Unless you want his salary.
And what am I giving up to get him?
And to some degree, that's also why Ja's name continues to be there. If you're a buyer, what am I getting? I know the upside and the dynamic, but those guys are similar in terms of their availability. The Grizzlies have played 24 games this season. Ja's been around for 12 of them, from that standpoint. So the reliability is a major question there. So I can see both of them still being up there. They're linked because they're 1-2 in that draft that came in from that standpoint as well. But here's the reason why. If you're a seller, Joe Dumars, and what separates these two is that Joe Dumars is in his first year as the, president of basketball operations there. He's not connected to Zion.
Zion's not his pick.
At a certain point, he's going to say, all right, what can I get for this guy?
Yeah.
I feel like Derek Queen might be the guy we can move forward with, and I already gave up a ransom for him to move up in that draft.
Right.
It might be time to recoup whatever
And
I
Queen
can.
is young
cut bait.
royalty right now.
That's what I'm saying.
he's
So
doing it.
it's one of those deals where if you're a seller, you got to figure out, man, how much can I get? It might be time to go ahead and do it now.
You gave up assets to the Hawks to get Queen. You got to get some assets back at some
And now
point.
that's not looking like a completely bad move because
Queen's
when you got
solid.
Fears and Queen,
Fears is
you
yeah.
got two potential anchors for your team moving forward.
But if Atlanta's got a chance to get AJ Diamantster or top 3 pick, is that price
Depends
still
on
okay
what Queen
with
ends
you
up
paid?
doing, right?
No,
Like, depends on what
absolutely.
Queen
It
ends
will
up
be
doing.
tied
Yeah.
to certainly tied to Queen. We'll take a look too at the rest of the league with some fill in the blank. I'll make a statement. Our panel will fill in the blank, nice and simple. Jarvis, we'll start with you. If traded by Milwaukee, Giannis's best NBA fit would be with.
I think the Knicks. I think it makes complete sense. He would go there, and I think Cat has done what he can do. But I think it'd be perfect if he went there, and they would have a chance. He'd get a chance to win another ring in New York.
I could see it. I mean, and it's been talked about, obviously. Stephanie, where are you at on this one? Perfect fit for Giannis if Milwaukee decided to move on.
Minnesota. I mean, look what they had. You have someone like Anthony Edwards running the show, somebody like Rudy doing all the dirty work. All Giannis has to do is show up and just play. There's no pressure, and he's such a dynamic athlete. He can create his own. He can create for others. I think it'd be a great fit.
Interesting. I know Timberwolves need a point guard as well. Love Mike Conley to death. I know that's something that they've got to look at as well. That might be a nice combo with Giannis there. Michael, where are you at in terms of fit for Giannis?
Well, the fit has to make sense for Milwaukee too, in terms of what it's going to take to give up Giannis and what you're going to get back.
Right?
If you're Cleveland, man, the Cavaliers will look great if you can retain Donovan Mitchell and maybe Mobley and Garland.
Yeah,
Mobley and Garland going to Milwaukee, and this is just hypothetical. We're not reporting anything. I got to make sure I get that disclaimer there.
Right.
But if you're Milwaukee, what do you need to get back in order to sustain where you are or go into a deep rebuild? Mobley and Garland gives you a point guard and a big,
a young point guard.
And if you're Cleveland, you still have some franchise guys there to build around. So I'll go with Cavaliers.
Would be absolutely interesting. Stephanie, you're up on this next fill in the blank. The team making the biggest fool out of me this season is whom?
The Boston Celtics. I mean, I remember we talked about them before the season started, and it was woe as me because all the things that they were missing, and they didn't have this and they didn't have that. Well, hello. They're third. They've won 5 in a row, 7 of their last 8. So yeah, I'm a bit foolish if you play that one back.
And Jarvis, how about you?
I'm going to say the Lakers. I mean, who thought, I didn't know Austin Reaves was going to blow up like he's blown up. I thought that Father Time was going to kick LeBron in the butt. It did for a while with the injury there, but, he's back on the court. And, Luka's Luka. So I didn't think they would do as well as what they're doing.
Michael, who's making a fool out of you?
Hey, I'm going to say the Clippers, right? Just look at their record. Look at where they are. Their roster doesn't indicate where they are right now from that standpoint.
Finally, on this one, Stephanie, I'll believe OKC is better than the 73-win Warriors and the 72-win Bulls win.
They win 4 championships in the next 4 or 5 years. I think they are a very good team. I have totally bought in. I'm not one of those naysayers who doesn't believe they're good enough. But the question was better than the historic teams. That means they've got to do better. They've got to produce, and that means 4 championships in 4 or 5 years.
Steph is looking long-term, which is really sort of what the question asked. Jarvis, you're up here.
Well, I was going more short-term. I thought if they hit 60 wins with 20 games left, they'd probably have a chance to win 80.
Breaking the record. Yeah.
They would shatter it.
Which looks like they're going to do as well.
If they hit 60 with 20 left.
Michael, on you.
They have to cap off this historic start by winning a championship. One thing that the Warriors didn't do was win it all that year when they won 73. The Bulls won it all, so I'll start to believe it when they cap it with the title.
All right, we'll wrap up this week's show by taking a quick look at what's ahead for the Grizzlies this week, and then a quick call your shot. Friday, obviously, December 12th, we've talked about it. They're taking on Utah here at FedEx Forum. Certainly hoping to have Ja back on that one for 12-12 day. And then Monday, December 15th, we mentioned it, added because of the Cup. You're at the Los Angeles Clippers, who I've called a broken down outfit. Hopefully, they're not ready to win and tired of losing to the Grizzlies. Now, call your shot. One bold prediction from each of our panelists about this upcoming stretch of games. First, though, we'll take a quick look back at last week's predictions. I told you these guys love it when they're right, and they love to be spotlighted when there are. Look how they turned out. Grizzlies last week for the panel, 3-0. Jarvis, you had them going 2-0. We mentioned it. Michael, you had Wells shooting over 40% in the 2 games. He did, 5 of 9. And then we had Anthony saying, I think, another 20-point game. Was it KCP, Cam Spencer? Either way. No, it was Coward. That's who it was. And it hit. So those guys 3-0. We love it when we're 3-0. Steph, we got to say when we're right. You get it how it is. This week, let's get those bold predictions. Jarvis, you take it.
I'm going to say Ja 25-10. Call 12. He's giving out the tickets today. People were lined up out here at FedEx Forum to get him. They want to see him back on the court. He wants to be back on the court. Ja will be Ja.
All right, that's bold, averaging 25 and 10 in 2 games, hopefully this week. Stephanie, you're up.
I'm going to go with Tripp averaging double-digit rebounds in these 2 games. He's got to figure it out, and I think the rebounding is his route to happiness.
Really love to see Jaren hitting the boards on that. Time to help out Zach Edey on that glass. Michael, your call, your shot.
I say Grizzlies get to 500, right? They're 2 games, right? Utah, Clippers. You've already beaten the Clippers twice. You should be able to knock off Utah at home. They should be 13-13 by the time we do another show next Wednesday.
Now, I agree with that, but that is not bold. They're beating Utah and the Clippers. That is, Stephanie, I think you would agree that is not bold.
Yes.
So if you get this one, Michael, we ain't stopping the show
predicting this team that was 4-11.
Back?
They were 4-11 with them.
They were 4-11, that's true.
So,
that's true.
Again, getting to 500 from where they were, before the end
Right.
of December, that's pretty bold, if I have to say so.
2-0 versus Utah and the Clippers. Hopefully Michael's going to be right again. Real bold, real limb he's going out on. That's our show for this week. Thank you to our panelists, Jarbo, Stephanie, of course, the great Michael Wallace. Thank you as well to CJ Hurt and our talented team here at Grizzbeat. For the entire team, I'm Jason. Keep grinding.